Oh, oh, guys, today's a good one. I hope you all had a wonderful Monday. I definitely had a great Monday. AMC is up 3.5% on the day, and we had a positive day. We also tested really critical areas today, and we were successful, and we were rejected also. But overall, for the day, we've spent most of the day above $9.50, which is a huge thing for the stock. We do need to look at testing that 975 resistance right now. It's going to be a very hard resistance to get over because we've tested it so many times today and in previous past. But before we dive into the technicals and all that kind of stuff, if you guys can do me a huge favor, drop a like down on this video and then make sure that you hit that subscribe button along with ringing that bell. And when you ring that bell, you turn on the notifications, and by doing those three things, the video gets more reach out there on YouTube, and it really helps me as a small content creator. So thank you guys so much. Let's get into this. But overall for the day of AMC, like I said, up 3.5%. The huge thing is our volume was sitting at 32.81 million, which is actually up a little bit, but is still significantly lower than what our average volume is. Our average volume over a 3-month period is still sitting at 165,560,000 shares. So we're sitting pretty much about a fifth, a little bit less than a fifth kind of thing of our average volume. And the fact that we had a positive day is a huge thing. And I'll get into the short interest later because that also is adding to the fact of like how happy that I am about this kind of thing. But just to take a look at the stock, we did have our intraday high of 981. We did have our intraday low of 933, which is actually good because we didn't touch that 925 support. We didn't touch it at all the whole entire day, which is phenomenal for the stock. But the huge thing that I want to highlight here, just taking a look at it, is taking a look at the MACD down here and how overextended it's getting in some areas. It's not the best thing for the stock to get really overextended like this, but it's happening in heavily shorted stocks because of the volatility within the moves kind of things, because we're ripping and we're dipping really quickly kind of thing. So we're going to see this overextended MACD. Now when we look at it at more of a macro perspective, it'll be a little bit less, but it's still a huge thing. The other thing that I really want to highlight here is this blue line here at the top of your screen is the 975 support line. And how many times did we try to test 975 today? 1, 2, we actually broke above it, so I'm not going to count that one. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, we closed those above, so I'm not going to count those. Close that one technically below, so 13, 14, 15 times within the day. So this just shows how strong that 975 resistance is. And we did get above it here for a little bit, but we pretty much broke right back down below it. Now the huge thing is if we can to just start heading towards the bull upside, we gotta reclaim 975. The fact that we actually traded between pretty much 950 and 975 today is a good sign for the stock because we did have that positive move. But we need to get above 975 because if sooner we can turn that into support, and the less that we have to keep testing it, the better, because the more that we test it, the harder it's going to be to overcome that resistance and turn it into support kind of thing. But you can play the flip side of the coin. The more that we test it and the more that we get rejected by it, once we get over it, then it should be seen as a very strong support too. But then we have to test it as support as well kind of thing. So we have to kind of look at both sides of this. But the huge thing just to take a look at is we really didn't have much of a consolidation period. I mean, I can highlight here and right in here, but we didn't really do much consolidation today because we were having our rips and we were having our dips kind of thing. And this is very common on very low volume stocks. The fact that we traded 32 million shares within a day, which is a fifth roughly of our current 3-month average of volume, is a huge deal. So you're going to have a stock that's going to be weighing more when a share's traded back and forth. But let's hop out here to the 5-day time frame. The huge thing is I drew this trend line back here and we broke through it on Friday, really. which was the battle for $10. And on Friday, to remind you guys, we tested $9.25 and we actually broke down below it and almost tested $9. Today, we didn't even touch anything really below, if I can say it, this candle technically touched below 950, but we didn't have a candle close below 950 today, which is a huge deal for the stock. So the fact that on Friday we had this huge move, and then today we didn't even get anywhere near it, it's a huge thing for the stock. It's very good. And personally, I think AMC is headed in the right direction, and we just got to get over this 975 because I think it'll do good things for the stock. Getting over $10 is going to be like a hurdle, and it's going to be a very long fight. Like, I personally think if we get above $10, once we get above the $10 and then the 1010 marker, really the 1010 marker will just send the stock flying kind of thing. And that's my personal opinion. But to play the bear side of this too, I could also see us retesting 925 too, because there's a lot of short interest within AMC right now. But we also have a positive news thing. Today, the governor of New York actually announced that they're increasing capacity of movie theaters from 25% to 33%, which is a positive thing for AMC, which means more tickets being sold, more butts and seats, more bottom line revenue for them kind of thing. So, but the really highlight today, when we took a look at the 1 day, 1 minute chart, you can see how volatile, you saw how volatile the moves are. These are a lot more calmed out versus what we had on Friday, which was literally overextended. Literally the definition of an overextended MACD is this right here, versus today we were a lot more calm. We're sitting about 52 here on the RSI in the after hours, which is just a hair above neutral, which is pretty good. Considering the fact that we sold off really heavily on Friday, I think this is a positive thing for the stock and shows that we are having a little bit of bullish sentiment kind of thing. Also, the huge thing is today we're trading above the 120-day moving average. We have the 30-day moving average wrapped in here a little bit, but for part of the day, we were at least trading above that too on the 5-day, 5-minute. Now, if we hop out here to the 1 minute chart, not the 1 minute chart, the 1 month chart, Robbie, you can see we had our 1 month high of 1359, and then we had our 1 month low of 831. Now, the huge thing is you can see the movement of where we've been where we had a nice little trend line here that we're going, and it kind of looks, oh man, I moved my support line. Gosh darn it. Oh well, let's just delete it. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to kind of draw a trend line down here, and I'm going to start it here. And I'm going to start moving it this way. So the huge thing that I'm looking at is when I draw my trend lines, I want to make sure that we're touching at least 3 points. So we have the bottom of this candle, we have this candle, we have almost that candle, this one, and this one, and this one. So hopefully we can respect the trend line. And the huge thing with this trend line is telling me tomorrow is if we want to respect this trend line and continue this kind of run. Granted, it's only really over the past 2 days, so it's from the middle of Friday when we hit our bottom and today. So, but if we can trade within this trend line and respect this trend line, we should hopefully continue a movement like we saw here in the past. So hopefully the stock continues to do that. But taking a look here at the MACD does have a bullish reversal here, which is a good thing for the stock. We have that bullish momentum, and we're trading headed over the equilibrium. We're not overextended like we are back here during that nice run that we had. The huge thing is we're not overextended, which I'm going to keep hammering away, and it's going to be like, how many times can I say overextended in one video? Let me know down in the comment section below. But the RSI is sitting at 53, which is really good. But really just looking at this 1 month preview, we had last week where we were literally trading around $8 and everyone was just worried that AMC was a dead cat and it just isn't going to be doing well. And is this a thing? Is this even squeezable kind of thing? And guys, it absolutely is squeezable. Can I tell you when the squeeze is going to happen? No. Could it happen this week? Possibly. Could it happen next week? Possibly, kind of thing. But we don't know when this is going to happen. We need all the dominoes that kind of come together and then start falling at the right time for a squeeze to happen. So, like, I know all of us want this squeeze to happen so we can get our tendies and all that kind of stuff, but we just have to be patient and just have to keep loading the boat, kind of thing. And I'm not a financial advisor or anything like that, but when I see red days within GameStop and GME, within GameStop and AMC, I tend to load the boat, kind of thing, and tend to buy up on my position so I don't end up selling those shares, because the psychological part of you, when you see red, wants to say, oh no, I need to sell my position. But in reality, if you actually do end up buying a share or even two, or however many you feel comfortable doing, what it helps you do is help you retrain your thought and say, no, this stock is actually worth more than what it's currently at here. Let me take this opportunity, buy the dip, and get myself a couple shares. And then you actually feel better about it, kind of thing. Now, does it suck looking at your portfolio and it's absolutely red all the time? Yes, it does, kind of thing. But you have to remember, did anything change fundamentally about those companies, or are we just in the middle of a market correction or on the tail end of a market correction, kind of thing? You just got to remember those things and got to have that perspective and that intuition in your head. And just remember, investing is meant for the long term. It's not really meant for the short term, kind of thing. We've been privileged with the bull market that we've had and all that kind of stuff. So that is the huge thing. Like, we had a 10-year bull. We've had a 10-year, essentially, what year is it now? 11-year bull market since 2010, kind of thing. So we definitely had the profitability, kind of thing, of just only seeing stocks go up. Stocks do go down too. And AMC definitely can go down tomorrow. I mean, I can't say that for a certain fact that it's going to go to the upside, but I can tell you one thing, that looking at the charts, the technical analysis perspective says that it has a possibility of going to the upside. It also does have a possibility of going to the downside. So just keep that in mind, guys. And sorry for me ranting so much, but let's get in here and cover the short interest. So this is Ortex. This is one of the tools that I paid for. I paid a ridiculous amount of money for it, but whatever, it's completely worth it. The huge thing is our short interest actually changed today. So we're up 0.78%. Now keep in mind, our short interest was like at 98.7% or something like that. It was like 98.7% on Friday, which was huge. Like, our utilization was that high. And the fact that our utilization was at 98.7. Yeah, our utilization was at 98.7. The fact that it was that high, and today it increased even more. We're currently sitting at 99.40, which means they have 0.6% left of utilization before they're maxing this puppy out. And our current short interest or free float is actually right now surprisingly lower than GameStop, sitting at 22.61%. Our current short interest is sitting at 94.42 million. On March 31st, it was reported at 73.82. So in literally about a little bit over 2 weeks, we're seeing 21 million more short shares. Also, our borrowed shares today was 3.02 million and the return was 1.87. So there's still an outstanding balance of 1.15, which brings me over to the free float on loan is sitting at 35.13%, which is huge. So there's already a huge outstanding short balance, and they don't have much more to pull from the cookie jar. They're running out of cookies. They have 0.6 of a cookie left. They don't even have a whole cookie left, kind of thing. The shares on loan is sitting at 146.69 million, which is a lot. And our days to cover actually went up today at 0.84 from 0.77 7 days ago. And the cost to borrow on Ortex says 5.60%. Now, let's do a test here. Let's do what Fintel says. So Fintel will tell us the short rate borrow fee also. So according to Fintel, the short rate borrow fee is 21.22%, and they only have 100,000 shares that are available, which is huge. That interest rate is like a credit card, guys, like a credit card. Imagine taking 100,000 shares out and saying, and the person looking at you being like, give me 21% of whatever let's just do simple math. It's $9 a share. There's 100,000 shares, so $900,000. So roughly say $200,000-ish for me just to take those shares out and just use them. That is insane, guys. These guys are just rummaging and trying to pick at every little last thing that they can because they're running out of bullets. They're running out of bullets. Now, Intel and Vortex differ on the cost to borrow, but we can take a look and say that the absolute minimum, confirmed minimum, is 5.60% today, which is huge. Now, can this absolutely squeeze? Yes, this can absolutely squeeze. When will it happen? I can't tell you, and I wish I could tell you, but I can tell you one thing. With the short interest increasing more and more each day, and that cost to borrow fee increasing more and more, they're running out of bullets. And eventually what's going to end up happening is the longs are going to end up going long, and the shorts are going to end up going wah, kind of thing, because we're just going to outduel them, because they have to pay money to hold their position every single day. We just have to go, oh, okay, you brought the stock down to 925. Let me just buy another 5 shares. But they're having to pay 22% to bring out 100,000 shares. Just try to keep that in your frame of mind and just be patient with this, because this can squeeze, and I think it absolutely will squeeze, kind of thing. Like, you can't have this high of a short interest and have this high of a short rate borrow fee and not eventually squeeze, because there's so much money being flooded into this, and the shorts keep flooding it and flooding it and flooding it and flooding it, that eventually it's just, they're going to put their hands up and say, we just can't do it anymore, because they're going to look at it, and instead of having a cookie jar, they're going to look at the bank, and there ain't going to be anything in the bank. It's a very real possibility, guys. But that's what I got for you guys today. If you guys can, I'm sorry for talking so long and ranting so much, but if you guys can, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button. Remember to turn on notifications for the video, because after all, we do like the stock. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.